Hi everyone, and welcome to the final part of my renovation of Garden Essence, where I am renovating the BFF household's house, and I'm also adding in some units. So I've got 3 other units. So basically this has been turned into a rental, and yeah, I've had to do this in 3 parts because I had so much footage from this build. And now we're at the final part here. So yeah, the first part I built the shelves and decorated the exteriors. The second part I decorated the interior of the first 2 units, and then in this part I'm decorating the shotgun house and renovating the BFF household. Now I'm a bit annoyed at the moment because I had already recorded the voiceover for this footage, and then I went to go and start putting in the panning shots because I haven't actually done that yet. I went to go and start putting in the panning shots, and then I was looking at the volume of my voiceover, and I'm like, wait, why is that so quiet? And I listened to it and it sounded absolutely terrible. And then I realized like I didn't have my main microphone plugged in, so the voiceover was being recorded on my webcam microphone, which sounds absolutely terrible. So yeah, I'm having to do this again, and I was actually thinking of leaving it till tomorrow. I was just like, oh look, you know what, I can't even be bothered anymore, so I'll just do it tomorrow. But I think I just needed to step away for a moment. So yeah, after I realized I'd made that mistake, I just went and played some Pokemon, and then after that I was just like, you know what, I am gonna do this tonight. And so here I am re-recording this voiceover, talking about all the stuff that I talked about before, and trying to make it a fun time. Although what's making it even more difficult is that it is very hot right now, and it's very humid, and I can feel the moisture when I breathe in. Like, it just feels terrible. So yeah, it's not the ideal conditions to be doing voiceovers if you ask me. But yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing here. And we've got the open living space at the front of the house, and what I wanted to do was build like a built-in kind of wall unit. So you can see I've used some of the Dream Home Decorator pieces. I've used those a few times in these builds so far, but I've got it in this build as well because I wanted this one to be a little more modern with the interior. The other 2 houses I have done had more of a modern classic look, so mixing up some modern styles with some classic furniture, whereas this one's purely modern. I don't really put anything classic in here at all, apart from the fireplace. But I guess, you know, you could say that fireplace was one of the original fixtures in the house, and then the rest of it's been renovated. It's also much brighter than the other 2 houses. They kind of had more darker tones. The first one was more had darker tones that were more warm, whereas the second house was very dark. It had a lot of black, grey, and you know, deep, rich colours. Whereas this one's a lot more light. And I also made use of some of the furniture from the Tiny Living stuff pack. So there's some bright colours here and there sprinkled throughout the decorating. Just with the wall unit here, you can see where I've placed the TV, and that actually looks quite good, especially from this angle. But when I was doing some playtesting, I think maybe when I was doing some panning shots at some stage, maybe for the exterior, I just happened to stumble into the interior of this house, and then I looked at where the TV was placed, and I was like, OMFG, that TV is so high. If the TV was like that in real life and you were watching that TV, you would get a neck strain from having to tilt your head up so high, because it is just ridiculously high right now, and it's pretty much the highest or the lowest it can be without it clipping into the fireplace too much. So I do change the TV, and you will see what I change it to later on in the panning shots. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it looks good from this angle, but from like a Sims point of view, it just looks absolutely ridiculous. So yeah. So I mean, yeah, you can see here it's kind of like a nice little, I mean, in terms of the decorating style, it's just like a nice little cozy living space. And I imagine this house as being for perhaps a single person who is, you know, just a young professional, or perhaps a couple. You can see I put like a scratching post in there as well, because I have made some space for a cat, so there are some cat objects around. And yeah, it's just something a little different that I haven't done for the other builds, is actually add some pet objects. So yeah, that's kind of fun and exciting and interesting. But yeah, now I'm moving on to the kitchen, and just like the living room, this one is quite bright. I do keep some of the warmer wood tones, keep them throughout the entire house really, and going for more of a modern color scheme. So we got some nice white not cabinets, counters here, and with a black countertop. And then I'm doing some floating cabinets, which you can see above the island counters here. And I did that just to try and do something a little different, but you know, that it's a bit more realistic. The only issue, well, it's not really an issue, but you know, because I play with I'm playing with the second wall height here at the moment. If these cabinets were connected to the ceiling, they would be super high, to the point where anyone using them would need to, you know, use a ladder to step up to them. So I did lower them down a little bit, and I mean, I don't think that's very realistic. They are still connected to the wall, so I mean, you could imagine that there's some sort of support coming out from the wall that's holding the cabinets up, but they aren't connected to the ceiling. But nonetheless, I think they look good, and so I'm keeping them. It's kind of why I did the like the built-in wall unit in the living area, just because I'm playing with the second wall height, and I feel like it can look a little bit awkward without, like, I feel like you need to kind of decorate up quite a bit, because otherwise the top half of the walls look really bare and it just looks quite odd. So you know, putting in some shelves and stuff that kind of scale up the wall is a nice thing to do with this type of wall height. I'm just adding in some kitchen clutter, and it's, you know, it's a reasonable amount of clutter, but it is tidy, of course, and just putting it all into place here. I've used the Dream Home Decorator kitchen stuff with the modular oven and stovetop, which is quite nice because you get to just use it with whatever cabinet counters you want. Got this nice knife block, which I think came from the Home Chef Hustle stuff pack. And then I'm just going in and putting in a backsplash. So I've got this nice yellow tile from, I think that's from the Love Struck expansion pack. And also some, you know, just a tiny little dining space here with a cute little shelf. And yeah, in terms of the colors, I mean, you can see there's quite a bit of yellow, there's some blue, there's some orange, and it kind of works quite nicely with the warmer wood tones. And now I'm just putting in this tiny little pot plant here. Well, it's actually just a regular pot plant that I shrunk down. And now putting in the light switch. So this one actually goes by really, really quickly, this the build of the shotgun house, because I did, you know, when I got up to this build, when I was recording the footage and I got up to this build, I did start to realize that I was moving the camera around a lot. And, you know, I have said this before, that I tend to complain about my style, like how I build, and I just move the camera around a ton and how it's just difficult to edit. Here it becomes a little more fluid because I realize that I am moving the camera around a lot, and so I kind of start to keep the camera more or less in one place, and it just makes things a lot easier for me to edit, especially when I'm just wanting to focus on the highlights of the build rather than putting, you know, having all just unedited raw footage and me talking over that, because yeah, that's not very interesting to me. So now we're in the bedroom, And we've got it's a reasonable sized bedroom with a double bed just hard up against the wall there, so that there's some more space in the room. And it has a, what do you call it, a yoga mat, and then we've got the cat tree there, and just putting in some additional clutter, just putting that around the place. It is quite a tidy house. The next build that I'm actually going to do is next door. I can't remember what that lot's called, but that one will be another set of units. I'm probably going to do about 3 units, 2 buildings, I imagine, keeping the original building and renovating that, and then just adding in another building that's probably going to be 2 stories, but with 2 units, so perhaps a unit on the top story and a unit on the bottom story. But I'll probably do that one next, but I haven't quite decided how I want it to look or anything, but that's just the idea that I have for it. So that one will be a little more run down and more of a low income rental. So there will be a bit of grunge in that. And I'm looking forward to doing that because I do really like putting grungy builds together. I have done one before. On this channel I did a Sims 2 one a while ago, and that one was really fun to put together. I did use a lot of custom content in that build though, and because I don't play with any custom content for the Sims 4, I just have to use with what's available, in the vanilla game. But I think it'll be okay because the Basement Treasures kit has quite a bit of grungy stuff in it, and there's like also other grunge items that are sprinkled throughout different packs, so I think I'll be okay putting a grunge build together. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that. Now we're in the bedroom, in the bathroom, and yeah, just putting that stuff together. So it is a shared bathroom and laundry space. It is a nice size as well, like I was able to fit in everything, no problem at all. We've got the counters here, and I'm cluttering those up with a few bits and pieces, and yeah, it's all looking pretty good. I really like those new green tiles that came with the recent update. And then I moved back to the living room and just added a blue, I guess, accent wall, just to kind of break up the white, because there was a lot of white, and I just, wanted to keep things kind of, more interesting to look at. Did some brief work on the exterior before, well, on the back porch anyway, before moving on to the interior of the BFF house. So this is where Travis, Liberty, and Summer live. Now, I said, I think in the first part, how I didn't change the exterior of the house too much. Because I like the color scheme, and I have no issues with it. I just fixed up the window placement a bit. And yeah, other than that, most of the changes are to the interior, particularly with this open living space and the entryway. I feel like it's really awkward, so I tried to separate the space out a little bit by having this kind of sunken area that is carpeted, and closing off the kitchen, sectioning off anyway the kitchen and the dining space. Now, when I was renovating this house, I kind of had envisioned this as being, more of like a modern rental that is for like young people who might like to have like lots of parties and stuff. Because I have actually in real life, I've been to apartments that have been renovated with kind of this industrial styled look that I'm putting together here. And it ends up just being a party pad when a bunch of young people move into it. So yeah, I wanted to do that with this build, this renovation. There's also like a love triangle that's hinted between the 3 Sims that live here. So, I mean, it's hinted at, but it's not really evident in the Sims, so, their relationships or anything like that. But because it's hinted at, I did want to put in some more kind of romantic colors in. So we've got some reds, some maroons, and some more I guess warmer, well, not warmer, yeah, I guess I'm sticking with the warmer tones in this house here, but you can see I've got this red lounge suite too. And yeah, just to emphasize that this is a household that is where there is perhaps a love triangle going on, and so adding in these this romantic color scheme was quite fun to do. But yeah, so you can see I've put in pretty much the living living room area, put that together, the living room area. I'll come back and do some more detailing to that in a moment, but I'm just sectioning it off with a bookshelf, this one from City Living, which I really like. The only problem that I have with it is that it's really tall, and the shelves are there's a lot of empty space on it that you have to fill up with clutter to make it look a bit better. But there's only a few slots on it, and so I have to play around with Move Objects and Tool a lot to actually get it to look very good. And then with this part here, I was kind of thinking, when I got to it, I was like, what the heck do I put here? This is such an awkward entryway to the house. So I just put like another seating space with the stereo, because this is like a bit of a party pad. It's got the bar there as well that separates the living room and the kitchen. So I did want some more spaces for seating, so that if there are a lot of people over there, there's plenty of spaces to sit around and chat. And yeah, you can see I'm coming to clutter up this bookshelf a little bit, but there's only so much I can really have the energy to do when it comes to this type of cluttering, especially when there's objects that don't have enough slots on them, but they have lots of empty spaces on them where clutter could potentially go. So yeah, do a little bit more there, and then just put this nice little decorative clutter object on the coffee table, and just duplicating one of the pictures from the Modern Luxe kit and putting it above the stereo. And then I go and change the coffee table in the living area, because the other one was like a base game table, and I've done a lot of builds lately where I've been limited by packs, and that was fun and it was nice and challenging, but it is nicer to be able to play with unlimited packs at the moment, because I do get tired of seeing the same furniture over and over again and using that furniture over and over again. So when I just I think out of habit I just defaulted to that base game coffee table, and I was like, wait, I just need to choose something better, seeing as I have the opportunity now. Now we're in the kitchen. I keep the lino the same because I feel like it just goes with the color scheme, and there was nothing really wrong with it. So yeah, kept that and put in some modern looking cabinets and counters that are, we've got some tan and black here, which I think looks quite nice. And I'm putting in an island counter. But it's not a proper island counter. It's basically just a counter that I've just placed as an island because I feel like that looks just as good. But I didn't want to make it huge, because even though it is quite a big kitchen space, I didn't want the island counter to be massive. Like, there still needs to be a decent amount of walkway in this kitchen, and I feel like how it looks now is a reasonable there's reasonable spacing between these objects. So I'm doing a little bit of cluttering in the kitchen, just some basic cluttering, but pretty tidy. And we've got these utensils here that I'm putting on top of the microwave, just making sure that the height is fine. I've got the paper towels that I'm putting in the corner over here. I think I do come back, maybe not on camera, but I do put in some coffee bean clutter as well next to the coffee machine. I always like to do that. I mean, I feel like in real life, things like that are usually put away, but they just look good left out in The Sims. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't leave my coffee out next to like my kettle or anything, my electric kettle or anything like that. It's always put away. But in The Sims, it's nice because it just makes things look more realistic and lived in. But yeah, anyway, moving on to Summer's room, and her room is very girly, and it's blue. And while I don't put it in initially, I do put in a little bit of exercise clutter in her room, just to emphasize the fact that she has the active trait. So I did want to differentiate their rooms and try and make them reflect their personalities a bit more. But it is a nicely sized room. It's the second biggest room. And yeah, I'm just putting in all the usual bedroom stuff. I've got this couch here, which I really like. It's the couch that came from high school years. It's just one of my favorite couches, so, or love seat, so happy to use it here. And then just putting in just other various bits and pieces of bedroom furniture. She's got a bookshelf and she's got a clothing rack and a nice plant in that space there, and then just putting some shoes and some towels on that, and putting this like little teddy bear and love heart. Perhaps Travis gave that to her. We can only guess, and we don't want Liberty to know about that. Now I'm doing some curtains, and yeah, just sticking with these same curtains that I've used throughout these builds, actually, because they're just so easy to work with and they look good. I just wish they had more color swatches, but yeah, just grateful to have them. And then I'm doing the trick that I do with the connecting parts, you know, just putting them, overlapping the other connecting, but with the railing of the curtains, just so I get to choose the wood tone that I want for, you know, the curtains or whatever. I don't even know where I'm going with that. Anyway, moving on to Liberty's room, and I kind of see her as a bit of an alt girl. Perhaps Maxis was trying to do that when they were you know, putting her together with her base game outfit. It is terrible, but it is quite alternative, so I did want to continue that theme for her bedroom. So she's got some kind of, you know, some nice alternative patterns, and I don't even know how to describe it really. Some alternative patterns and stuff, but she's also a geek, and so I put a lot of gaming stuff in her room. So she's got a computer and lots of gaming clutter around. I do put in a bookshelf as well. It was initially next to the desk, but then I moved it to the corner here because I wanted to add a gaming console to her room. And yeah, just adding a few ottomans to this space here so that she can play with a friend if she wants to, and a little bit more clutter for the desk. And I put that desk in the corner there because it is a nice way to utilize that space. And I've got some of the clutter on the other desk, so you can kind of imagine that perhaps she swivels around on her chair when she's doing something on, you know, the desk with all the paperwork, and, you know, maybe she's working on some projects or whatever, and then she can swivel around back to her computer and work on that. We've got this kind of open wardrobe here, and I initially chose the bold yellow swatch from City Living because the neutral swatch that actually looks quite good with this room, the items inside it looked really boring. It was just like white t-shirts and red shoes, and that just looked weird, so I ended up replacing it just with this wardrobe from high school years. And yeah, I feel like it looks a lot better, and I'm just adding some more wall decorations here before moving on to Travis's room. And his room is the smallest in the house, but he's also a geek as well, so he gets a lot of, you know, gaming stuff. He gets his own console too, but it's also quite messy and, you know, not really put together. I wanted to make one of the rooms a bit messy, and so I chose Travis's. So, I mean, it is messy. There is a lot of stuff lying around, but it's kind of organized, so it's more or less put away and put to the side. And, you know, he's got his guitar there, so I kept his guitar. And I think there's something in his personality that may suggest that he is, I can't remember if he's active. Hang on. He's not active, he's self-assured, so I did put a picture of like this gym picture in his room above his bed. He is self-assured, and perhaps he, you know, sees that as like inspiration. He's pretty confident he's going to get there one day, but I mean, he's not active, so who knows, good luck to him. But yeah, that was just an interesting little detail that I put in his room there. So Travis also gets his own gaming console, and I did that because, you know, keeping in mind that this is a share house, and even though they have like a main TV and a stereo and stuff, I do want them to have their own personal objects in their rooms. Like, you know, I've lived in share houses before, and while there are, you know, things in the communal area, like, you know, whatever TV and all that stuff, It is pretty common for people to have a lot of their own stuff in their rooms, like a TV, and if you are a gamer, then you will definitely have your gaming PC and perhaps a console in your bedroom. And it's just a nice way for Sims who have the option to go and socialize in the common area and watch TV together, or they can just go to their room and have their own alone time and play the games and whatever. Now we're in the bathroom, and this one I made, quite cluttered and messy, considering it is only one bathroom and there are 3 people living here. So I imagine there would be a lot of stuff lying about because everyone kind of duplicates and uses their own toiletries and whatever. So a very cluttered bathroom. But I mean, overall, it's an okay bathroom. But I've said, about my difficulties with bathrooms in the Sims games in general. I just find them difficult to put together. I'm never really satisfied with them, but I feel like that bathroom, it's okay. But yeah, moving on to the exterior, this kind of little deck here, and it's just got a barbecue and a table and chairs, and then I just put this kind of hedge bush to cover up that blank wall there. And yeah, so I am getting to the end of the footage here, and we're about to move to the panning shots, which I haven't recorded yet, so I'll be speaking over a blank screen, but when you get to the panning shots, they will be there. So yeah, I'm gonna let you enjoy those, and I will say thanks so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to bring this to you as always. If you'd like to download this slot, it is available on my gallery. My gallery ID is minosimu_NZ. And yeah, that's it from me. My next video will be The Sims 3, and I will be building/renovating a fire station for Sunset Valley. So yeah, that's my next project. Until then, I will talk to you later.